Greetings loved ones and welcome back to my channel, and thank you for your patience while I was on maternity leave for the past month. I'm slowly making my return back to content, but about a month ago, on May 23rd to be exact, I gave birth in this bedroom to a healthy, beautiful baby named Corvidia, and you guys will meet her eventually, I'm sure, but I wanted to put this video up first because the bedroom renovation needed to be seen by your eyes before you see the bedroom in my birth story video. So yes, there will be a birth type vlog coming your way. I didn't vlog throughout the entire process because I was incapable of doing so, but I did vlog for as long as I could, and Finley and my mom got some shots towards the end. So that will be the next upload after this one, and then I'll probably do like a third trimester recap since I already did my first and second trimester recaps on here for you. And then we'll probably get back to vlogging. So that's kind of like a tentative upload schedule that you can expect, but I'm not on a schedule, I'm on my baby schedule. So I don't know when those videos will go up, but just know that they're coming eventually. And speaking of eventually, throughout this entire 8-month process that this bedroom renovation took to complete, I was just saying that you would see this footage eventually. And the day has finally come, and I truly cannot believe it. I can't believe that I'm filming in our bedroom right now. It still doesn't feel real, even though we moved into this bedroom at the beginning of April. And honestly, whenever I talk about how long this renovation took to friends who also renovate, they're like, yeah, that's just the name of the game. It takes freaking forever to turn a room into what you actually want it to be. And even right now, when I'm showing it to you, I'm still like, oh, I want to hang art here and do this and X, Y, and Z. But my friend Ariel Bissett, who also makes renovation content on YouTube, she was like, renovations should actually be called delay-ovations because you just get delayed all the time. So we started this renovation at the beginning of August 2023, and we finished it at the beginning of April 2024. And I got pregnant in early September. So I was only involved in this renovation process for like a little portion of the first month where I just sanded some floors with Finley. And I thought that I would be more involved, but as more chemicals and toxins got involved and I was very pregnant and also very sick in my first trimester, I did not really lend a helping hand in the process. So this was a one-man show. And that being said, I am inserting some like voiceover clips of me to break up the Finley content. I know you guys love the Fin cam, but also some people are like, I'm here for you. So I made sure in editing to do a little mixture of both. It honestly was so crazy editing this video because it was like 18 hours of renovation footage. We also had major setbacks in this process, like when our roof started leaking and raining in the house and we had to focus on that instead. Like this wasn't our main project is really what I'm trying to say. We live in a fixer-upper, and although this was our first project, we were also like getting little things done along the way, which you guys saw in those early reno vlogs as well. Anyway, I wanna say that because this video was like originally 18 hours of footage, the extended cut of this, the full 2-hour feature film, is on my Patreon. If you guys want to see that, where it just has more FinCam footage, random things, and also features the floor chronicles, which you guys are going to see on YouTube an extremely shortened version of, but it was like 2 months of trying to refinish the floors in this room. So yes, all of that is on patreon.com/Meghan Hughes if you would like to see that. And a couple more random things to note. I did choose to make this a family-friendly video by muting his cursing, because in early renovation videos when we first moved into this house, some people were like, wow, there's a lot of cursing and I'm trying to watch this with my kid, you know what I mean? And also, I just want to say that he gets better with time. That sounds so mean when I put it like that, but he got better at just like being on camera. He kind of was a soft-spoken king at the beginning of filming and then like got more comfortable. You know, it's hard to just, like I said, have a one-man show, and I'm used to doing this. At the end of June, I'm celebrating my 12-year anniversary on YouTube, but my husband is not the same way, you know? So he really is just, he went for it, and I appreciate him so much. Not just for making our bedroom so beautiful, but for being down to film the entire process for your viewing pleasure. So I hope you do get pleasure out of it. And without further ado, let's jump back to move-in day and see what the early vision was that we had for this room. Enjoy. This door right here leads to the primary bedroom, which is going to be our bedroom, and we're gonna rip up all of this fake wood flooring in here and replace it. Or if the usable flooring is still under there, we can just kind of polish it, refinish it, and all that stuff. Also, we have closets, but they're walled off, which is odd. So I also want to cut out the wall in between. I don't know where we're gonna put our bed. I feel like we'll maybe put it here. I don't know. Finley has a lot of ideas for this room, and I do as well, but we shall see. Now he's measuring to figure out how to extend our closet. And I think that it's gonna be a really good idea. So the idea is to remove the wall up until that point that he just measured to, and then remove the wall here as well.
Take all these panels out to the top. These doors won't exist anymore, and it'll just like expand the room.
This up here, look at that nice exposed beam. Like, that could be exposed in the ceiling and not hidden away in this weird closet. Like,
the closet just utilizes, there's so much square footage right here.
Yeah.
And what you can actually use it for is so limited.
What do you think, dogs? First project in the bedroom? Okay.
I think I'm just gonna undo all this electrical because obviously none of it can stay. First cut is the deepest, baby, I know. I think it's only getting easier from here, folks.
You're on your Hannah Lee Duggan shit, wearing no protection. All the men are gonna yell at you.
Safety squint. Don't knock it till you try it. See that? A hammer just dropped on my foot, but that's why I'm wearing my safety Crocs. Look at this. Ah! Ah! Come on, big fella. I'll tell you what, I thought this would be a lot more miserable than it is. It's not too bad. I would say not my finest work. These boards come off real clean now that I got the screws out.
There's the wall. Looks good, eh?
Yeah, man, I think it'll be really cool.
This is really expanding the room a
know,
lot.
like
It already feels bigger.
Good night, everybody.
Got my PPE on. I even got knee pads on. Whoops. Well, that's that. So I got a good bit done yesterday, but I didn't film any of it because Meg was out with the camera. So I'm gonna show you all what I just did, and then you can watch me finish the last of the demo. I took pretty much everything out except for the kind of framing for the closet. That's all nailed in, so I'm gonna have to get that out with the hammers. And I just did some vacuuming and got all the electrical detached. Then we got a whole lot more to come after that. I brought 3 hammers up. It's like a joke, but it actually has been really helpful. Turn on some Game of Thrones and get on it. Whew, it's looking pretty good. So now I get the joy of taking all this wood out of here and trying to get the nails out of the stuff I'm gonna be using again. It's more than I thought. I'm gonna try to denail all this. I'm not sure how long that'll take. I'm just gonna use this as like probably shed siding for the hogs or something like that. It doesn't need to last, you know, 100 years or anything like that. Got some important work to do today. I'm gonna be sanding all this. I decided instead of renting a sander, I got this really nice belt sander for a different project that I've yet to use. So I said, why not put that to work?
I'll tell you why not, honey. It's because sanding with the belt sander took about double the time than it would have with a standing sander that you could rent from Home Depot or somewhere. But yeah, he just really wanted to use the belt sander since he already had it. So he figured, like, why rent something, which I understand. So he would maybe say no regrets, but I would say to you, probably don't do this.
If I was doing like an entire floor of the house or something, I'd rent a bigger one. But I am gonna bring that out, do all this as well. Probably take that shelf off when I get out here. That's my plan. Sand going with the grain, kind of doing in circular motions so I don't get hard edges from the belt sander. Last thing I want to go over is PPE. Most important thing. I have my glasses, got my face mask, a little dust mask. I got a proper respirator with some VOC cartridges for when I finish the floor later. Got some knee pads. So this is the kind of finish I'm getting after some pretty brief sanding. I didn't spend very much time on it. The wood is like so crazy uneven. I'm gonna really have to take a lot off to get spots like that. This whole part of the floor is pretty much already raw. Somebody must have already done this. Like, that's a little old finish right there, so I think that he probably was gonna refinish the floors himself and then I guess decided to stop, but I'm gonna finish the refinish job. I've gotten a decent bit done here. It's pretty labor intensive. I wouldn't want to hand sand these floors, but even with a pretty decent machine like that, I'm definitely sweating and stuff doing this. It really wants to pole and you gotta kind of hold it back, move it around, yada yada, all on your knees and whatnot. With a big like floor sander you would rent, you'd be able to stand and there'd be, you know, a handle here that you held, more like a push lawnmower or something like that. This is like the fresh sanded, this is the old with the sand still on it, but then most of the floor was kind of like unfinished like this, so I'll still go over that to smooth it all out and just take off the top layer of kind of grime. That should be quite a bit faster than this. Just so y'all know, I'm just filming this because my wife's a YouTuber, but I am not a professional, so anything you see me do, you should confirm with a more experienced source. But it's still fun to show, so here we go. I'm gonna put the wife on orbital sander duty. Got some 40 grit sandpaper here. Got her set up with the extension cord, so she's just gonna hit these edges. After you, my lady. So how do you feel about how things are going so far?
I love it. You've been doing great. I'm just gonna finish up in here, get the orbital sander going. Just orbital Redenbacher, that's me.
Yeah.
You like that joke?
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
The dust collection on this thing is not good. You don't want to apply down pressure. This is random pattern, so like leaving it in one spot won't be too bad. But you know, if you literally just stand here and don't do anything for 5 minutes, you know, you're just gonna get a weird circle there.
Are we putting a trim in here?
Yeah, we probably will.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if I maybe nick the siding.
No, I already fucked it up a bunch over there.
Yeah, you did. Okay, here I go. Renovation Meg.
Well, please just interrupt if you have questions or if you're having a hard time.
Finley just duct taped the shop vac to the sander for me so that it can actually dust collect. Checking in with you multiple hours into the process. Really boring. My love goes out to all of you contractors out there, you know, woodworkers, all that kind of stuff. I also want to say that I accidentally sanded a groove into the floor. Well, not a groove, more of a slope, because I was going so hard on one place for so long. I just had to have Finley try to fix it, but we're just gonna have to have that be part of our story, a part of our floor. But yeah, so fucking boring, dude. I'm just like sitting here like, my whole arm's vibrating and then my knees hurt and then I'll like lay down and be like, and I'll like rest my head on here.
I do hate how that one vibrates.
Yeah, it like makes my arms feel weird because it vibrates so much. Anyway, this is what I'm doing. That's why I haven't been filming as much of this, because it's just been so constant of just working in one line. Back to the old grind.
Me and Megan decided this house is like 0 soundproofing. You can really hear everything from one end of the house to the other. These exterior walls that you can't see right now, those, if they're like the other walls I've seen behind, should have at least some fiberglass insulation in between them. But these, from what I can tell, have absolutely nothing, which is not shocking to me, knowing how this guy built. And you know, the only reason to put something there would be fireproofing or soundproofing. So we're gonna try to do that ourselves. This whole wall almost certainly has no sort of soundproofing either. However, for that, I think I'm gonna leave B for now, since we are gonna remodel that bathroom in the future, and I'm gonna redo the walls in there. I'll just jack everything in there up at a later date.
So I don't think Finley ever said exactly what his plan was with these boards, so I'm just gonna tell you what our original plan was. But basically we wanted to strip all of the tongue and groove attached boards off of the wall and put them back up exactly as they were. So in a following shot, you're gonna see everything labeled with tape because he was numbering them to make sure that he knew how to put them back up. But then we ended up changing our minds. We changed our minds a lot throughout this process, which is invited in a renovation. You know, you should be able to change your mind.
So attempting to take my first like real piece off, this was the result I have. I just can't get leverage behind the whole piece at once. It's tongue and groove. There's just so many places where it wants to crack. There's no way, I mean, at least for my capabilities, I'm not gonna be able to get these boards off this wall without damaging probably every single one of them. So we're in kind of a conundrum because we both really want it sound insulated. Our solution that we're gonna go with is still taking these down, but just changing what we're taking down slightly. And instead of putting it back up, we're gonna replace it with just probably white drywall. So instead, we're gonna start from this corner adjacent to the bathroom wall, across this doorway, this little side wall, This whole back wall up to this corner, that's all going to be replaced with white drywall, and that should allow for some more light to get reflected, all the lights coming in bouncing off this back wall. So I'm hopeful that that'll improve the lighting in here, improve the sound insulation. Definitely going to cost a little bit more money, but hopefully not too much. It's not too many pieces of drywall that I'm going to need. Sneaking in for a little visit, bro. Now that I have these walls exposed, this used to be a closet behind me, so there was no outlets or anything. There were these little closet lights above me. We're gonna put the bed like right back here, so obviously we need a minimum 2 outlets on either side of the bed, and then we're just gonna want to put more in. In general, there's a lot of outlets on this side of what used to be the exposed bedroom. All those are like dead right now. I don't know where the wiring's messed up. That's a later project for me. For now, I'm just gonna focus on trying to get the floors done after I clean it up in here, so that at least we can stop getting the house all dusty. So I did some vacuuming. God, it looks so much better in here now. You can kind of already see how the room would become a little brighter if this was white back there. So that's encouraging.
Finley is chiseling out all of the dirt from the cracks out here, and my job is to vacuum it all up. Very satisfying. I just vacuumed all of the floors in here. I'm being very meticulous about it because we're gonna stain these and we don't want any crap in the stain.
So right now, I'm just gonna get into the pre-staining. This is terrifying to me because I just spent 100 years sanding these floors. So it's like, if I mess this up, oh my God, that's gonna be a big deal. I get really nervous about shooting my shot. I'll be using this Minwax oil-based pre-stain. I have read some not so great things about Minwax, but that's pretty much what my store had. I did get a different brand of polyurethane because that's what I'm more worried about than the stain. I also wanted to stick with Minwax because I already tested some of their product to see what it looked like, so I didn't want to have to do that again. Always plan your exit with this stuff because you don't want to get stuck having to try to walk through it or whatever. So, you know, start with the far corners and working away where you can work out the door. This is a N99. I put new cartridges in it. It's supposed to filter out VOCs and stuff like that, and all this oil-based stuff is pretty bad, so I'll be using that as well. Alright, so I got the pre-stain conditioner applied. I love the way it looks. Even though it's not like colored or whatever, it still just looks really good to me. So I'm gonna put the stain on. Hopefully it doesn't look terrible. I'm a little disappointed with how it came out despite the pre-conditioner I used. Hopefully gonna be able to even these colors out with another coat. I'm feeling pretty happy with the floors in here. They are a little blotchy. Specifically for pine, it's like a very blotchy wood to stain. Using like a gel stain or something that kind of sits over top of it is a better way to get a more even stain, but I didn't do that and I can't do it now, so this is what I got. I think it looks pretty cool. The wood looks really natural, like you can see so much of just the variation and things that make a piece of wood unique, so pretty cool. And the color tone of it is really nice in here and actually matches above really well. And I also think that the polyurethane, once it goes over top, I think it's going to give it not a ton but a slightly more uniform look to it.
Many unbearable hours later.
Well, first things first, we're gonna take a moment to appreciate this really nice shot I just set up. The finish from my last attempt with the oil-based polyurethane sucked. I'm over that product. It's not working for me. I want a bunch of things. I want something that's easier to use, less bad for your health and the environment, and also something that can go on top of this oil-based poly, which is a pretty tall ask. This is a brand that I've been aware of for some time. They're called Vermont Natural Coatings. They use whey, which is the milk protein and a common byproduct of cheese making, and use that as the basis for their poly whey. This isn't just finding less toxic solvents to make a traditional polyurethane with less health risks and stuff. This is like an entirely different technology, kind of from the ground up. Verify with them, but I believe what they said is you cannot put it over a water-based polyurethane, but that you can apply it over top of an oil-based polyurethane, provided that that oil-based is 100% cured. It's been about a month for this floor, so I'm quite confident that it's cured at this point. Pretty much identical to if I was going to put another oil-based coat on. They said just rough up the surface a little with like a 180, 220 grit sandpaper. Not trying to sand the stuff off, just trying to give a little grit to it, teeth for the new layer to bite into, and then just slap this on and let it dry. This will behave much more, I mean, it is water-based. That's what's a little confusing, is normally you can't put water-based on oil-based, but I guess with this product, because it's a different technology, it's the reverse of that. So what I'll be doing today, putting on my wonderful PPE, sanding this whole floor with this little orbital sander. I'm just gonna hit that with the 180 real quick. Just go do the worst spots like that. For the most part, this floor is flat, even, it looks pretty good, but there is some mild puddling and other imperfections in places. So I'll clean those up, then I'll go over the whole thing in 220. I'll vacuum, I might wipe the floor down, I don't know. Then I'll mix this up with my drill and my mixer, mix it real good, because I think that some of these problems are a result of not mixing the previous polyurethane well enough, and also not mixing it throughout the process and only mixing it beforehand. I may or may not pour it into this tray. I'm just going to be using this, so most likely I'll just use a brush in the container. This time, actually, this is important. It's so visible in real life, but so much harder to tell on the camera. But can you see like these little kind of sheen differences, and you can see the brush strokes where they met? Specifically, these ones are most likely from me going this way, stopping there, not meaning to let it dry, but leaving it for too long, going over here, starting over there, working my way back, and by the time I'm getting back over here to marry the two sections, that side's already dried too much, and it leaves a forever visible evidence of your attempt to do so. So I'm really thinking ahead of time about how I'm gonna approach this, you know, what order I'm gonna go through the room at. If I start in this back corner and go across, and then instead of going this way, but instead restarting on this side and going across again just a little further down on the floor, that'll leave an average amount of dry time across the width of the floor. And if I keep going across all the way till I meet here, then I can get back to that back corner, come down like this, and see myself out of the room. That should allow me to keep the dry time pretty much average on any edge I leave, and hopefully, I really hope, eliminate any of these edge meeting marks. If not, I'm gonna have to live with them.
Finley asked me to put this song in, but hello darkness, my old friend, I won't be getting copywritten.
I have spent so many hours on this floor, so many hours I'm out of opportunities. This is my last chance, and I've moved to a new product. No experience with it. God, I just need to nail it first try. No slip ups, no mistakes. Gave 3 tries on the oil base, blew a ball with some minor improvements, but none big enough. Oh God, my heart's been racing all day. Couldn't sleep last night. The color of this product is in milky white before it's cured. Once it's cured, it'll be full clear, just like a water-based polyurethane. Oil-based polyurethanes have a little amber tinting that happens as the UV rays interact with the polyurethane, but this will not have that. I'm kind of excited to have it white like this. It'll help me visually, I think, a little bit while I'm applying it, just to see, you know, if it's wetter in an area, that means it's thicker, etc. I'm going to be sure to mix this real good, and I'm also going to make sure my drill is at like the lowest setting I can put it on. If you use this product, I definitely recommend having some sort of like powered mixer like this. There's a real thick layer of almost like a waxy type of substance at the bottom of the container. When I tried to mix a quart of it by hand, I really felt like I couldn't do it effectively. I can tell this is going to take me a minute, even with the powered mixer. So I taped the lip like that, so when I dip it in, I have a flat surface to get some of the excess out. I really want to be controlling how much is held inside this, because having too much held in here, I think, was a major problem for me beforehand. And if you do too much squeezing and all that stuff, it creates air bubbles, which will lead to imperfections in the finish. You may notice I'm not wearing a respirator right now, and that's like totally an accident. I'll put it on in a second, but that's how much I can smell this. I'll still put it on, but way, way less potent than an oil-based polyurethane.
Pray for me, dude. I got no more chances. This is it. Wow, what do we think, huh?
Really good.
Absolutely incredible. No imperfections.
First coat was on September 5th. It is October 20th.
Finally done with the floors. When I have to do whatever floors I do next, I'm going to use the same product. It should be way easier for me, much less hassle and resentment. Very happy with this. This is Vermont natural coating, and it's gone great. Got a little layout on the floor here.
This is going to be my side.
This is going to be our closet space. That'll be our door where you see those two perpendicular tape lines. You look like a real degenerate in that outfit.
The next section of this video is basically entirely electrical work, and I know that some people are like intensely bored by electrical, but I just want to say before you're like fast forward that Finley is so passionate about electrical. He finds a lot of joy in it, and I think he actually finds a lot of joy in teaching people about it as well, even though he says a lot of disclaimers like, don't listen to me, I don't know what I'm talking about. He has successfully wired a ton of stuff, and I understand, you know, like the risks of listening to him, so it's like take everything with a grain of salt. But at the same time, he was making some points, and it would be helpful if you guys are, you know, doing any kind of DIY work yourselves or renovating your own house, just to kind of have like a little bit of knowledge about this stuff, because I feel like electrical is one of those areas where everybody is just so terrified to do it themselves, so they hire it out. And I'm not telling you what to do, you know, hire who you want to hire, but at the same time, I'm going to keep the electrical footage in because it just would be good to sink into your brains. Anyway, enjoy.
We're doing electrical, so that's a good thing. I like electrical. It's fun. It's invisible. Keep in mind, I am not an electrician, okay? Anything I tell you to do with electricity, think of it as like a suggestion and tip, not somebody actually teaching you, because learn from somebody who really knows what they're doing. Okay, electricity could be dangerous. Gotta be safe. That being said, don't be too afraid to get into it. I mean, I think that there could be too much fear too. Same thing with mushrooms. Like, people have too much fear around mushrooms. Like, yes, you should never eat a random mushroom you find, but like, it's totally possible for any person who's willing to put in, you know, the effort it takes to be educated to go safely forage. Anyways, bit of a tangent. Right now, I'm basically trying to plan out how I'm gonna wire all this. But currently, before I do that, I'm trying to figure out what's going on the other side. There's 5 that all have not worked since we moved in. So at first, I was really concerned about that because I'm not planning to take any of this siding off, and I wasn't gonna be able to figure out what was wrong with the plugs if I didn't have access to the guts of the wall. But the hot wire was just really deep in there, so I didn't catch it like the first time or two that I was poking around in there. But finally, I caught the hot wire and was like, okay, nice. So that's a good news to me, because that means probably, and I'll find this out today, electricity is being brought to this outlet. That hot wire is just not tied to anything else, so it just ends there. But I can see, you know, the other wire coming out of the receptacle. I'm assuming that that leads to all these other outlets in this room, and that I'll be able to really simply fix all that just by throwing an outlet in here and using that as a conduit link. So this thing, you see me use this a lot. It's just to tell if a wire is hot. So this green cap, that's the grounds. These are tied together. They're the only ones tied together. These off-white are the neutrals. Those are just capped off alone. And this black and this black are the hots. I believe this longer one is the one that was hot before I turned the breaker off, and you can see nothing's triggering there. I'm just gonna start by uncapping these. You want enough to get good contact, but if you strip too much, then the wires could accidentally touch back in the box, which would not be good. And I'm wearing these gloves just because they got little rubber tips, and it should be at least slightly insulating, I believe. The outlet will go in like this. The hots connect on this side, the neutrals on this side, the ground on this green screw. However, before I connect them to the actual outlet, I will pigtail them together. This is just a little piece of extra wire I have. Cut it, stripped it, I pre-hooked it and stuff like that. That's the end that will go into the outlet. Get these 3 together, just start twisting them up. Hopefully that's enough extra for me to hook onto the outlet. Now I'll do my hot. If you can get your wires to kind of sit where you want them to start with, makes it a lot easier to screw the stuff together. All right, I think that's got a good bite. Really don't want these to come loose. If that happens, then things can like short out and whatever. You'll just have all kinds of problems. I guess this is probably pretty boring to watch, honestly. If it's boring as hell, man, just skip to the end. Beautiful work, Finley. Very proud of myself. Just kidding, that's really simple to do. Moment of truth. Yes, correct wiring! Woo! Let's move to the next one. Yay! Yay! Next one, please God. Yes! Got that back wall working. That was really easy. Really happy about that. And I'll update y'all when I know about the other ones. Turned circuit 9 on. That's what we're looking at. So it's getting power, but the fact that only the middle light's on means it has an open ground. And it's the same situation for this one. Only the middle light. And that's the only outlets over here on this side. My intention was to run the electricity through this wall all the way through here, power all this stuff, all that stuff. That's what I thought would happen once I made that connection. What ended up happening is the power cut off right here on that left outlet right there. So that left me with the mystery, starting from back there over to here. What the hell is making that all work? So I had 3 potential breakers that affect this room. Circuits, not breakers, because that's a better term. The number 3 circuit, that is that wall that I got working yesterday, and it also connects to some plugs in the bathroom. There's the number 9 circuit, and that's this really complicated one over here that I did a lot of detective work on yesterday. And then I think it's number 6 circuit, and that only affects, I repeat, only affects this switch and this singular light right there. Wire is expensive. It's expensive to wire a circuit. Why on earth would you put all the effort into wiring this circuit up here when you could just tap it onto the other ones? I know this dude, there's no way he was like, oh, my mathematics lead me to believe there's too much potential load on both circuits there already. Like, he didn't give a shit about anything. So I have those 3 circuits to solve. I'm gonna go ahead and call one of them solved because I feel like I fully understand that circuit. So that leaves me with circuit 6 and circuit 9. Circuit 6, connecting both the overhead lights on the same circuit, and then I wanna put in a second switch as well to control both of them. So currently, the only existing switch is on the outside of the room, on the right-hand side as you're walking in. I would like to add, stop, bro, what is this about? The other switch I would like to add is a switch right here. This blue lineage is where our bed will be, and I think it would be convenient to have a switch on the inside of the room, potentially within reach from the bed on my side. If you're just leaving the room like this, you could still easily reach over, turn it off, and walk out the room. If you didn't want to do that, or that ended up not being convenient, you can just turn off the lights right here. After I connect that second light, it's still gonna be a severely underutilized circuit. At the same time, I have a lot of potential incoming electrical needs that I'm running out of circuits to put load on. There's some big picture stuff we'll have to look at with what to do with circuit 6. Really, I should be grateful there's not much on it because that's what I need right now. So let's get into circuit 9 because this is really, it took me a minute to figure out. Let's make sure it's not hot. Damn it, dude. This is what I'm saying. I was positive I turned that off last night. I really thought I did. And yet here I am. I would have shocked the shit out of myself if I touched that. Okay, let's try that again. Magic stick a beep. Yes, buddy, and that's how you stay alive. Okay, we're gonna go on a little adventure, a little electrical adventure, similar to Miss Frizzle and the Magic School Bus. Just pretend you're a little electron. Coming up from the basement and through the wall, there is a light in the middle of the wall on the floor beneath us that has the power run through it and is activated by a switch on the light. That source comes up to this point, at which point it splits. The north split A. So we follow A up, up, and the only thing A connects to is this light right here. If we go back and follow the B split, we can follow this visible wire from outside the wall. It connects to this receptacle, which also splits. So let's call, again, the north split the A split. So we follow the A up. It too goes along here, but doesn't interact with that light. It just goes straight to this hole. It's this wire right here dropping down, comes into this box, which would be a switch normally. That switch would be associated with this wire right here, which goes up across into that ceiling light. This white wire would have probably permanent power applied to it and then be activated by this string switch. So what really confused me is that it doesn't make sense. There's probably a reason. Like he probably did something later on and then at that point it was easier to do a different way or something. I got confused because why would you not have the wire come up and then deal with all the electrical stuff up here. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to do. But he brought 2 separate wires up and then just terminated one for no reason and then brought a second one up to go do a little more business. Most people, when they're wiring their homes and stuff, don't just leave the wire dangling on the outside of the wall. I haven't seen that one before. I've lived a few places. So what am I gonna do about it? Because I want to add this light above me to circuit 6, I don't need it attached to circuit 9. I'm gonna take out those 2 old closet lights and I'm gonna put that on a different circuit. So really what I can do is just squid chop it at the top of this receptacle. I'm also gonna have to find a graceful way to get this wire hidden, presumably behind the wall. But all the wall looks like behind me, so it's like a grid system. There's so many blockages when you're trying to run a line of something through without having a full exposed face. It's incredibly difficult. Even doing it in a very minor way downstairs in the kitchen was frustratingly difficult. On a bit of a different note, I'm gonna have to fill all these cavities with rock mineral wool, and I'm gonna have to cut every piece individually because these cavities are all slightly different sizes. So I wanted to show you all how late night one night I did this. So that's just me drawing a symbolized version of the cavities in the wall. That's the A part, that's the B wall, this is the C wall, and then this is all the measurements.
A lot of boring math later.
I wanted to share that with you all, some of my planning process. This is called the Super Note. If you are looking for a device like that, I guess a digital notepad would probably be the best way to put it. If you have something like an iPad, consider using that. You can get screen overlays that are, much cheaper than a device like this that can give more of a textured feeling. But if you want a dedicated device to it, there's many on the market. More than a couple of them have associated monthly costs of basically we're selling you the device, but we're like renting you a service on top of it. This thing, sometimes I don't touch it for 6 months. I don't want to pay a monthly fee for 6 months and not use it. So this Super Note, a little expensive, but it was worth it for me and it could be worth it for you, especially if you're in like college or something. I feel like it'd be so useful for that. Yesterday I put that outlet and that outlet in. Now the source goes from up, taps into that box, goes down, and in addition to going to the right like this, that source will also split to the left and power 2 outlets down this wall. Also, in this box, it'll go up and follow that line. And this line will then go power 3 lights right there and go to a switch on a wall that doesn't exist yet. And then also power that light, and 2 switches over there. Okay, well, I've done it. I've officially done everything I can do before having to go in the attic.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have done some preparation. That should keep a mouse out for about, at least a few seconds, I would think. And I got out my legs. Hopefully, I'll be able to get in there with confidence. They always tell you dress so you feel confident. I'm gonna strap in. I'll bring the camera up. See if I can film anything. We'll see what's up. If I was a mouse, I wouldn't be f***ing with me. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so I guess I'll just leave this recording the whole time and, I went and verified the electrical. It looks clean. You can see a little bit of something behind me. Mineral wool. These bottom cavities don't work out so nicely, so I'm gonna end up having to use, multiple cutoffs to fill some of this space probably. Luckily a knife cuts this pretty easily, so I wouldn't want to use a nice kitchen knife for it. I have this knife specifically for this kind of job. So I really like this stuff because it fits so nicely in there. It really takes up the whole space and leaves no excess, which is an experience I just don't have with most insulation products. So that's the kind of waste I'm talking about, which is awesome. That sufficiently gets the impression across. I'm pretty much just doing that a bunch of times with various variations. If anything crazy or interesting happens, I'll let you know. That's a good looking wall. Oh God, it feels good to just be a man, taking in the fruits of his labor. I ran out of material. I used up 3 bags of this stuff and it worked out perfectly. And I shoved every single scrap in here and I still have that gap. Probably just use a can of spray foam or something. I do have another package, but I don't want to open it. So almost perfect. I'm amazed I have literally 0 waste. Alas, not quite enough. Well, here I am, the perceptive mind may be able to tell what I'm doing here. A little drywall. I've never really worked with drywall before. Got my first piece up there. I'm trying to get accustomed to it, learning new things. Better to at least
have like 2% knowledge of what you're doing before you try to tell somebody or explain it to somebody else. So I got these sheets. I'm gonna drywall these walls back here, just a little bit of the ceiling in this room. My whole life I've avoided drywall. Something about it I just don't like. I don't really know why. I've always used plywood in place of it, but since we're actually trying to get like a nice finished look in this room, sheetrock seemed to be the easiest option. So it's been a big learning process for me, and seeing all the additional things that are involved with, you know, putting drywall in a room and getting it to the finished point. It involves a lot more than just screwing drywall sheets to the wall. From buying the sheets, loading them into the truck, unloading them, bringing them up here, cutting them to the right size, screwing them up. All that only gets you like not that close to a finished wall face. So mud is what they call the drywall compound. Lay mud down across all the seams, fill in all the holes from the screws and whatnot, put tape down over that, mud the tape, let that set, then like go in, fill all the gaps and do all this stuff to make it a nice level surface. Sanding in between, you do that like 2 plus, you know, up to like 5 or God knows how many times. And then that gets you to the point where you can now prime it for painting. So even then, it's not like you'll have a finished wall, you still have to paint it. So yeah, there's a lot. I'm doing them vertical because these are 8-foot sheets. That's the smallest size you can get, generally speaking. This ceiling, even the highest point's not even 8 feet. These are the joints you want. So when I put a drywall sheet up next to this one, this right here is the paper side. That's what you want. If you got this side butted up against this side, then you'll get a nice clean seam there, or just a much easier seam to manage. This is the butt end, and when 2 of these ends are facing each other, that would be called a butt joint. And butt joints are more difficult, allegedly. I've never done one, but I'm trying to avoid them based on word on the internet. I don't understand drywall very well to like teach somebody how to do it, and I also am not proficient enough at doing it to make watching me do it be very interesting or entertaining. I don't think that people watching this are watching to know exactly how to put up drywall. Today I wanted to do a little worker shout out. This is our little helper poodle face. So what do you think of drywall? Not much. Well, that wasn't very much to say at all, bro. Look at her. She's such a little construction dog. Oh, I could watch this all day, bro. This is where you get the real good shots. I've been standing here since last night, just looking at this gap I got. The house is crooked as but luckily I'll put in some baseboard. The bigger the baseboard, the trim that you have, the more elegant, boss, rich motherfucker look you got. So if I f this thing up bad enough, 2 feet of baseboard, I don't care. 3 layers of it, I don't care. This corner right here is my closet wall. Nobody's ever gonna see this corner, so I'm not as worried about it as I will be with some other areas. I didn't want to paint this before I put up the wall that's going to go right here, because I'm going to have to paint that too. It's just going to be easier to paint it all at once. So today I sanded all this stuff real quick, but I'm basically going to try to do on SketchUp, design that closet wall. It's going to be a little complicated because there's going to be an arched entryway and then theoretically an arch kind of viewport to the window. That's a bot right there. I might cut some other stuff first, but I gotta do, I think they're called cripple studs, what you put up there.
3 weeks later.
Alright, well, it's been some time away. While I was out of town, I had my best contractors on the job, but unfortunately, they're a couple of hogs, so they didn't really get much done. Weather's been pretty poor, so I don't blame them. I finished up all this framing here right before I left. So I wanted to turn on the camera so I could show you all this karate chop. I realized this is a bit like being a chiropractor, so that's kind of cool. Oh, does this look like the doggy playpen playhouse? Oh, it does. My dad got me this tool belt for Christmas. Fucking awesome gift. Great fit, adjustable. Now that I'm in my skinny legend, skinny as Mariah phase, it'll fit. And then once I have my daughter and gain my dad weight, then it'll still fit. So yeah, I've just been using this little knife, this little drywall saw knife thing. Okay, well, I guess it's going that way. Since I last did the drywall, I went out and bought this little attachment. This is essentially designed to stop you from dimpling the paper on the drywall when you're screwing in. So I tried to get it set properly before, not sure if I succeeded. So I'm just gonna do some test screws. It's pretty finicky because you need the head to be perfectly flush with the paper, not breaking the paper, but also not protruding at all. Professional drywallers will use like auto screw air guns where they just literally like punch it up. It screws in automatically to the right depth. The more of a dimple there is, the more you have to go in and backfill with the mud. Okay, so once again, it's hard to see, but this is perfect. So I didn't even get this driven in perfectly straight, yet it's still all subsurface without any paper breaking and just to the absolute minimal amount possible. So I like that setting. This is just the first piece on. I'm not doing that line of screws because it can cause blowout on the drywall, so I'm gonna butt the next piece up first before I put that line of screws on. I really like that cutout around the window. We'll see once it's all finished, but I think that, like, personally, I'll be really pleased with it. And I think Meg will like it too, which is what's important. If you're wondering, this drywall is all purple. This was already here when we bought the house. It's basically drywall you'd use in any kind of wet environment. I'm using it here because I didn't want to buy more. So I should finish that up today and maybe get to some mudding. Super happy with how everything's looking. Curves give it a much more like modern vibe in like a pretty rustic feeling building. And all this raw wood will maintain that rustic kind of country feel, little modern flair to it. Got my exposed beam back there. The light comes through really nicely. Probably do some like hanging plants or something like that in this middle area. And I'm still trying to figure out what to do up there. I still think I want to try to make a little face or something. I can see why some of the drywall job downstairs is so bad. He was using plastic, whatever the hell these are called, which, Jesus, I cannot imagine doing that. Every little deformation at the edge here leaves these grooves and lines, and oh, that must have been horrible. For doing these curves, I'm attempting to do a ton of little cuts like this. I probably did these a little too close together and I snapped them pretty poorly here. I'm trying to decide, I think I might like back butter this first and then stick it up there. I think that's not a bad idea, hopefully. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna call it a success. Definitely hard to put up. All right, well, I'd say it went okay. I mean, pretty well, I would say, considering I didn't have to buy anything new or go to the store. This is the piece I back buttered and did all that other shit with. I kind of decided after thinking about it for a while that that probably like did literally nothing to help. So I didn't do it on this side, which helped in itself because I just spent a lot less time like with the piece and it gets really fragile with all those cuts in it. The other issue, aside from some delamination, is this really did not, I don't know why exactly, but you can really see it peaks down there. So I'm gonna have to cut a little valley in there and then I'll just mud and tape that up. So I think everything wrong with it is fixable. The actual curvature looks, you know, pretty good. So even though you can like kind of see the ridges here, first the mud will smooth that all out and then after the mud, the paint will smooth it all out. So I think I'm just gonna do the same thing for this other one. But it's going pretty well. I got the pre-fill in pretty good. But yeah, this is where I start to just fade. I like geometry. I'm a geometric gentleman. Cutting the boards, that's kind of fun. Looking at shapes and cutting things. But playing with mud, I mean, I guess it's fun as a kid or whatever. I mean, I like mud if it's like just outside, but all this drywall compound, it's like painting where you're just like, ugh. As far as I can see, this is all that there is in life, just drywall mud. And then the good news is after I finish this, I get to paint. All right, I call this one the patty cake. I learned this back in preschool, this technique for drywall. Ta-da. Finished all the taping, did some sanding to smooth things out. Definitely got a good bit of work here to get a flush surface along all these walls and whatnot. Takes a while to sand it all, so I hope I don't have to do this too many times. Check this out right here. That's that perfect synergy of Dawn soap mixed with Dr. Bronner's. Look at this. Woo! That's cool whip right there.
Okay, out of context, I had absolutely no idea why he even filmed this clip. I was like, did he just say that he put Dawn and Dr. Bronner's soap inside of the drywall compound? I don't understand. And then I Googled it and I realized it's a thing that people do to prevent bubbles in the drywall, I guess. So the more you know.
Got a little haul. All right, this is the most important thing I got. I've really been having trouble with my corners. You know, this thing's at a right angle and my corners are not right angles, so that would leave like a lot of mud fill in on one side. Part of the reason I've been having so much trouble. This thing, see that corner up there? Especially up by that beam right there, that's just, there's literally no way to get that smooth, so I'm hoping this will do the trick. I got these things. This is like the reusable sandpaper, but it's meant to fit on the pole sander I have, and it's like netting. I don't know if you could see, so the drywall dust should fall through basically and not just clog up the sandpaper, which is a big problem. And then this is just the same thing that's attached to my pole. And then 2 more buckets of mud, so that should get us done. I'm trying to film less of like just the bull nobody needs to see. I feel like this is probably relatable to a lot of people who have done drywall for the first time, like as a DIY project or something like that. But it's just like, it's hard to know when you're done. I don't have experience to know like exactly how the paint will sit over and blend any imperfections. Like I know I obviously want to get it as flat and smooth as possible. Another problem I'm having is sometimes where I taped it. See how the texture changes on the wall there? That's where I had too much of the mud underneath the tape and it bulged out. So now when I try to sand it flush, it's sanding the tape away. That's gonna be the evidence that this was done as somebody's first drywalling project. They're not all like that, but in enough places where it's like, I wish I did that better. Also, I will never ever use a normal dust mask again. This is an N95. And did you know that those dust masks are literally just like unrated? They're not rated to protect you from anything. And these actually have like some level of regulation behind them. You can buy whatever fits your needs, but aside from being way more effective for what you're trying to prevent harm from, they're just so much more comfortable. I don't get fogging up in my glasses. Breathing's way easier. I don't get so hot under the mask. You know, obviously it has much better seals and everything. So yeah, definitely just spend a little more money for something that actually works. As always happens, I thought of something else that I should probably do. These beams, I think it's just raw on both sides, but it's just not cutting it for me. I need to make it a little nicer looking, I think. That's the thing, it's like once you elevate certain aspects of a space, you're forced to elevate the entire space. You're only as strong as your weakest link. You know what I mean? I don't want some naked, unfinished beam to be bringing down the rest of my work here. So I don't think it's gonna take me too long. I hope I can just do it tonight real quick. Sand this down and then stain it real quick. No polyurethane. Quick, easy, simple. Whew. Yeah, I think we're gonna be happy about that. Got some stain on there. Well, I'm thrilled. I think it was worth doing. That didn't take very long, and I think I'll be very happy about that. So, wow, you know, it's the little things. They add up. Oh, bet you weren't expecting that. Check this out. Oh, your boy knows what he's doing. He's got the plastic down. Who's a painter now?
Your boy's a painter, officially. I'm gonna use shellac for this. Not so bad for you as some other stuff. Not so bad for the world, so that's why I'm using it. It's going on that beam up there. I'm not gonna put any like finished polyurethane or anything over it. Just want it to look a little better. Then once that dries, I'll take that up and then I'll get to painting.
Got a little excited, got geared up a little early there. I forgot, I'm setting up the dehumidifier. It took forever for the polyurethane to dry, so I think having a dehumidifier should speed things up. I got this window open, this door shut, and this entryway like kind of blocked off. So I'm hoping that sort of pulls the air outside. I mean, hot air rises, the hot air is going to go out to where it's colder. That should create an airflow the direction I want, which is not more towards my wife.
There's one coat. Not a bad match at all. And if you want a close-up, just ask.
I think it looks great. Really happy I took the time to do this. Really was about half a day of work, or maybe a day. Looks a little is all the drippage, but that'll get painted over. This product, I found it a lot easier than some other stuff. Like the tendency for dripping and stuff was just way easier to manage. Even, you know, having to do a vertical face and 2 edges meeting on a corner like that, which tends to give me a lot of trouble with polyurethane and other stuff. But I think it's nice. I'm really shocked. It definitely darkened a little bit with the second coat, but it's not too far off from the ceiling. So really happy about that. Everything in this room is just gonna look great. Come on. You see that tape job right there?
So the shellac really is showing through the primer coat, so I just tried to kind of do a quick cover up of where it's exposed so that when I do my roller coat, it'll go on a little thicker over top.
I just have this on because it's cool. I'm not actually painting right now. All I'm doing right now is sanding to prepare myself to paint some more. So I actually had something to share with you all to show my feelings towards sanding. Man, I've been sanding in between every thing I touch right now. I'm surprised I'm not well, in a way, I guess I'm even sanding my skin off every time I shower. It's haunting my life right now. And I'm a pretty bad painter, I realize, so I made quite a few mistakes in this first primer coat. So I'll sand off this bad boy right here, no problem, real quick, real easy. Meg offered to do it, Brew offered to do it. I said, no guys, this is my cross to bear. Look how white I look. Meg's gonna look like, what's a white part of an egg? She's gonna look like that.
I mean, I guess I do look pretty white back here, but okay, rude. What did I ever do to you?
Looks pretty good. The boy moved to New England, became a painter. Pack the car. It's already dried from this morning, I hope. Yeah, that's feeling dry. I got some trim, which is good, because I was having a hard time pulling the proverbial trigger. This is just 1/2 inch, quarter round. It's like a quarter of a round. I'm gonna put that up in these areas, just real subtle, just to kind of blend the differences. I'm planning to do it right here, which is gonna be really challenging because there's these massive gaps and I can't caulk because this is gonna be all stained. This is what I got for the baseboard. Nice little ivy pattern there. It's relatively subtle. And then I got a couple of these, which I may end up using this for the door if I end up feeling like something this small would be attractive. Otherwise, I might do more with this baseboard. And then I will be using that wall style ivy pattern to help try to blend this, I'm hoping. But I'm not here to talk about trim. I'm here to talk about doors. So here's my doorways that I'm gonna be working on. This is already stripped out. I'll probably rip this all off. So I got the basement a little cleaned up here. There's door 1. Here's door number 2. I'm gonna crack these bad boys open, separate the doors from the jambs. Okay, so I can use this little punching tool. You basically use it to hammer little pins out. That's not too bad. So my intention here is to get both doors on tables that are smaller than the door itself so that I can just do these edges, do everything without worrying about contact with the table, making any pooling. And then when it's dried and done, I'll just flip it over, do the other side. So yep, I got this other table that I use for the other door, and I guess I'll just show you all the shot when it's all put in place, how pretty. I probably forgot a thing or two, but this is more than likely most things I'll use. I already flipped the doors, checked both sides. They both look, you know, good enough for me. These things come pre-sanded. It's supposed to be ready to stain off the bat. People recommend that you go ahead and sand it anyways. So there's also these little like stringy pieces and stuff like that from the milling process. I'll just clean it up. I'm not gonna, you know, spend too long sanding this thing, but I'll just sand it down. Do the same thing with the jambs over there. Sanding is my first step. Then I'll move to the stain. This will put a lot of excess stain on the piece, and then I'll need these blue shop towels. There's probably better things to use, but from what I read, these should do the job to then quickly wipe off the excess stain. Speed's pretty important there because I'm using water-based, so the evaporation happens much faster than an oil-based stain. This is just PPE stuff. Once I'm done with the stain, I'll probably just do 1 coat of that as long as I'm comfortable with the color. Then I'll give it a quick sand again, and then I'll apply the poly away, probably with one of these big natural bristle brushes. That's about all I had to say, really. This will just be to mix the products up. This I just got set up here. It's really pretty cool. And I might bring this downstairs because I don't know if I need it for all the trim, but damn, I mean, it's not gonna look this pretty for long. With those curves? Ooh, damn, bodacious. All right, well, it's not good, I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that twice, it's not good, man. So you can see what I'm working with here. If I want the door to sit proper in relation to gravity, I have to be off that much from the tilt of the wall. Over here, it's even worse. I could have ignored it and followed the tilt of the wall, but then the door would always swing open on its own, which is pretty annoying. So the solution that I'm gonna attempt is basically put this right here. This is the custom piece that I added. You can see how that's, you know, trimmed in a way where it vanishes down to about an 1/8 inch at the bottom, and that just brings it flush with the face of the wall within reason. I had an immense amount of trouble putting these jambs in. In an effort to make my life easier, I made it harder. I basically should have done what everybody says, and that's to try to hang the jamb in the door with the door on the jamb so that you can then use the door to be sure that the spacing's right around it and that it's opening and closing properly. I went ahead and made the executive decision to ignore that and thought I did a pretty good job. I did not, and thus brought the doors up and went through that entire effort as well. So basically just did way more work. And now the jams are pretty much good enough. There's some small mistakes. Like for instance, I had to float this jam that much above the ground, which is not good, but that's okay. I just picked up this stack right here, 6 more of these things. This has all been kind of cut already. I have stained and done the clear coat on these door jams now. You can see it looks, you know, pretty decent. The issue I was having doing the finish, the clear coat on these doors was I was doing it in the basement and it was quite cold and it was just making the product too viscous. It wasn't doing the self-leveling that it might normally do. It says apply it in 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, so up here it should be around 65. I intended to only do 1 coat of the clear coat. I'm gonna do a second coat where I first applied it as that application didn't go well and I had to sand it down. And then I'm gonna go downstairs. The water-based stain seems to be working okay in the basement. I'll apply that to all the baseboard down there while these are setting up here and hang these doors up, get them out of the way, then bring the baseboard up here to do the clear coat in this warmer environment. I'll install all the baseboard and from there I'll start doing my ceiling trim, stuff like that. One thing I'll say about baseboard, now I'm thinking, start in the most out of the way place when you're doing your trim and then work around to the more visible areas, because where you end up will almost definitely look better than where you started. I actually heard that advice and the first thing I thought was, I'm gonna do that, that's smart. Didn't do it. So I am contending with the fact that some of my most visible trim is some of my worst cuts. I don't even want to think about it. Oh wow, look at me. I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at that, so bright in here. Wow, you really know how to curate a vibe, Finster. Yeah, thanks. I think so too. Wow, you even thought about which way the door swung so you didn't do something really stupid? Yeah, pretty smart, right? Door used to look like this stupid ugly door that's dumb and doesn't shut and open well. That's true, but now they look like this, which is even so much cooler because I did it myself. Except I didn't actually build the doors, I just got them from the Home Depot. Look at that though, wow. So it's really 2 doors in a room, huh? Boom. This is the widest opening point of these doors. Perfectly don't hit each other. So even if 2 wild children busting through each at the same time, maybe playing the Nerf guns or paintball or something.
I love how he said paintball here, as if anybody in their right mind would ever be paintballing inside of a furnished home.
Pretty happy. These give me a lot of trouble. Woo, don't want to kiss. Give me a little kissy. Oh, that's kind of interesting, Finley.
He's talking about how he decided to put trim on the beam here. And then also, if you can see the little face that he made in the drywall to the left, that might be, you know, to some people, maybe when we move out of the house or something, they'll be like, what the hell is this? Is the ceiling sagging or something? But he specifically made, he said it looks like an owl to him, but he specifically made that because there was this wood piece that was jutting out from where we had taken out the closet and we couldn't cut it out, and he was like, I just want to make a fun little face there that's like unique to us. So that's the owl for you. It does look a little funny and kind of a little bit creepy in this, but I also love it. And when I'm lying in bed, I can't even really see it because it's more on Finley's side. So hey, just quirky things.
Oh, not everybody decides to do that. And I mean, maybe that's for a reason. Maybe it doesn't look good. I don't know. Well, I think it looks good. Other than that, I'd say the trim process went well. I know some of you husbands out there would have done better. Pregnant wife. Peed herself and fell on the floor.
No. Stop. I
barely got her up here in the first place. Trying to ask a question. Can I sit down?
I needed a little break. I was standing on my feet for too long. I went grocery shopping too long.
That's a big gut you got there, Randy.
I know.
How many cheeseburgers you had today?
0.
That woman is definitely on the cheeseburgers.
Sucks. You don't need to do this here.
Oh, you could try to stick your tongue in everybody's mouth. That would be funny.
She needs to open her own kissing booth.
That would really bring in some rent money, real. Well, it's all working. Now we're just talking about the closet layout. Her side, my side. Dogs.
Baby's kicking.
The babies thinks that you're especially sweet, Larry. Oh, wow, that is just quite the performance, Larry. Here's the beautiful switch plates and outlet plates that I got. They're kind of brass. They're pretty heavily patinaed because they're antique, but pretty dope. Oh, boy. Ow, God damn, these are looking pretty good, huh? Crisp. clean cover plates. Eleganza. Yeah, I would have to add up the total, but I think I spent around like maybe 80 bucks or something on all these cover plates. That's obviously tremendously more money than a cover plate, like a plastic cover plate from Home Depot costs about $1. I spent probably 10 times that. But the difference in vibes, or Riz, as some of y'all may understand it better now, communicated by an eleganza cover plate like these ones, to me, the Riz endowment to a room is well worth that extra money. I don't know, I guess my point is just like there are some small areas where like you may be able to afford like spending up and it may be worth it even if you are on a pretty strictly budgeted project. I'm not trying to say these are the affordable way to go, but to me it was worth the extra cost. And there's probably something that would be the same to you. So I wanted to show just real quick my plans for the closet. This is just really rough, measuring some dressers I was gonna put in there so I knew the dimensions I was working with. This is the layout I did. That's south, this is north. That's the window opening to the closet. I'm gonna have 2 shelves with clothes hanging rods on my corner and then 2 in Meghan's corner with a smaller set underneath. That's about half the size. Her dresser will go over there. My dresser will go underneath over here. This I'm leaving open and this open. So hopefully we'll have a nice kind of diagonal open space in there without letting this get too crowded. If I had shelf here and shelf here, or shelf here and shelf here, the combined width of those, you know, everything hanging would leave really a small sliver in there. So I think doing an L shape is gonna keep a more open feel. Then I'll just isolate each shelf piece, you know, as individual pieces of wood and do the dimensions for those. And actually these themselves will be made up of multiple pieces of wood because I don't have pieces this thick since I'm reusing the stuff I pulled from the walls that I removed in here. But this will get me started close enough I can figure out the rest down there. I already cut these pieces of wood. This kind of shows you vaguely what I'm going for here. It'll be about that depth and it's cut to a right angle here because they'll meet in a corner. I have another set that'll meet into it. These will be mounted on top of this. I have a little rod in here to hang the clothes on. I'm gonna refinish all these. 2 on Meg's side, that's gonna be up on a white wall. Those are gonna be stained the dark walnut. And then on my side, which will be up on a dark walnut stained wood wall, we're gonna do the lighter golden pecan. All right, so now I'm gonna put a clear coat on these things. I'm gonna use my all-time fave, my Polyway. I honestly love this product. The more I use it, highly recommend this brand.
My handyman is here putting in my closet shelves. They look so nice being that dark walnut color. It's almost like
yeah, it really looks good.
It looks great. It's like the same color as that darker bark on the beam above you too, so it looks like complementary.
These are tongue and grooves, so I'm just trying to make sure that they're actually connected to something. But they look pretty good.
There they are. Incredible. He hung the bar too. My camera just died, so I didn't really show it, but you get the picture, honey. Okay, here we are. Our new bedroom. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Who can even believe it? Hardly me. Look, even the lights work. Woo! Sheesh! Sheesh! Let's go in here. What about these closet lights, huh? Woo! Love them. Oh my god, this is gonna be my side of the closet. This will be Finley's.
I mean, that's just nice. Feels good, man.
Okay, and here's our finished bedroom, fully furnished and lived in by us and our newborn baby. Wow, stunning. We do have some art hung, but still want to put some stuff over here and possibly over here, but this is what it's looking like right now. And we have all of our little items out and just hung that plant the other day, loving it. Let's turn on the closet lights. This is the current closet situation. So we have Finley's side with my dresser and then my side over here. with Finley's dresser because both of our dressers needed to be swapped. I couldn't fit mine over here and still be able to access my clothes because if I pulled the drawers out, they would hit my clothes, and his is just a shelf. He built this furniture piece. So that is here, my jewelry collection, my hats are up top, my purses, all that. That's Finley's jewelry. This we just have to find a place for. It's just like a nice decorative little knife, but I don't know. We're still finding places for things. We want to get like a little tiny stool here to be able to sit and put our shoes on or something like that. But we also need to get a foldable like step ladder to put in here so I can access the top shelves because I'm not tall enough to reach. And then this is what's over across from my dresser, Finley's hat collection, my bandana collection, and our laundry baskets. This is like the perfect space to still allow light in. That's why we didn't put a giant, you know, clothing rack here because it would have blocked off the light, which was like the whole idea was to allow light in here. And obviously we still have to replace our windows, but we're gonna do that when we do exterior work. This is the only window that's not fogged out. But this is, I guess, kind of like a mini room tour. My bestie Abby crocheted this blanket for the baby. We love it so much and it really ties in. This bookshelf or book holder is not big enough for all of our book collections, so we'll have to get, you know, a bigger one at some point. And we just got this at the Brattleboro Farmers Market and it even lights up. Oh, so cute. It's like a mini library in there with moss and little mushrooms. We just found it so adorable. So wanted to hang it by our little book situation, our reading nook, nursing chair. Speaking of nursing, Finley got me that. Love it so much. And I have my jewelry collection over here and some other little things that may find their way elsewhere over the days and months, who knows. And we keep a water bowl up here for the doggies. And speaking of things that will change, we're gonna put our baby's crib here once we transition out of the bassinet and into a bigger crib. But right now, just have my birth ball there and her little changing table. And just so you guys know, this may make some people anxious, but this is so secured to the wall. There's no way this thing's going anywhere. But if it becomes a problem where she's like touching it or moving it while she's on the changing table, we might relocate that. But the mirror came with the dresser. Then we have Finley's side, my side. Mine has a lot more pillows for when I'm nursing in bed, and my bedside nursing cart, and also a little place to throw her diapers. It's just a nice co-inhabited space with our stuff, baby stuff. Rue can't get onto the bed, by the way, without this little stool, so she has to jump up, up, and then up there, whereas Larry can just jump right up. Poor little girl. She's only got this big of legs. Well, there you have it, folks. Our finished bedroom. Again, I still can't believe it. It's so beautiful in here, and I just can't wait to put some more finishing touches on this space, but it has been really, really great to be living in here for the past few months. I hope you enjoyed seeing this process. Hopefully in more renovations down the line, I can be a little bit more involved now that I'm not pregnant, but I'll probably be with the baby when Finley is doing more of the renovations anyway, so I don't know how we're gonna navigate that, but we're gonna figure it out together. Love you so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, stay smiling. Bye, y'all.